Power is probably quite an important topic for laptop users and tablet users. So Windows 10 provides a number of different ways in which you can quite easily configure your power settings. Within the Settings app itself, on the System node, you can access the Power and Sleep and Battery tabs. The Power and Sleep tab is shown here, allowing you to configure what will happen to the screen on battery power. By default, it's turning off after 10 minutes, or when plugged in, it's configured to never. You can also configure sleep behavior. At the moment, as you see here, on battery power, the PC goes to sleep after never, and likewise, when it's plugged in, it goes to sleep after never. And those are configurable. Battery options can be accessed via the Battery tab. You can see that the battery consumption at the moment is 0, so we've got 100% charge. That's at the top of the display. Then you can configure Battery Saver mode, which is enabled, as you see here on the slider, at 20% of battery power. You can specify that lower screen brightness is enabled when in Battery Saver mode. To give you a bit more control, more fine-grained control, you can use power plans. These are accessible through Control Panel. By default, Windows 10 includes 3 plans: Power Saver, Balanced and High Performance. Power Saver uses the lowest power. By default, the screen is disabled after 5 minutes of inactivity. Performance will be reduced to help save energy. Balanced, which is the default for most laptop users, uses medium power consumption. You can configure the plan to power off the display after a specified period if you want to, and it determines computer activity and continues to use full power to all system components that are in use. High Performance provides for the highest power consumption, sets the screen brightness to 100%, and keeps all the computer's components supplied with power. Now, when I'm plugged into the mains, that's the option that I'll go for. When I'm out and about, or I expect to be at a customer site for the day, I'll probably go for something like Balanced or Power Saver. Let's take a look at a demonstration on how to configure power options, how to configure battery settings, and how to configure power plans. So one of the important factors for laptop or tablet users is the ability to control power consumption. Windows 10 provides a number of different ways of viewing and configuring power. This is a laptop currently plugged in to the mains, as you can see down here on the system tray. If I right click that, choose Power Options, it takes us to Control Panel, Hardware and Sound Power Options. But we can also configure settings through the Settings app. We go to System and then click on Power and Sleep. We can specify on battery power turn off after a period of time, and when plugged in turn off after a period of time. Obviously those will make a significant difference to power consumption. Then on the Battery tab we can specify what to do when we're in a Battery Saver mode. At the moment we have 100% charge. But down here, turn Battery Saver on automatically if my battery falls below, and you can set a certain level. Lower screen brightness while in Battery Saver mode. Let's put ourselves into battery mode now. If I remove the mains adapter, you can see here it's gone into battery mode, and I don't know if you noticed, but the screen's slightly dimmed, and so we're now running on battery. If we flick back to power options, we can see a number of available power plans. Balanced is the default plan on this particular computer. We also have Power Saver, and there is also a high performance plan. Balanced, as you can see, balances performance against energy consumption on this particular device. Power Saver tries to maximize efficiency and ensure that the battery will last as long as possible, but that will probably come at the cost of performance issues. And High Performance isn't terribly worried about battery consumption and looks at using the resources to improve throughput on the device. I can choose any of these particular device settings by clicking Change Settings and then selecting the appropriate power plan from the 3 that are available. If the three that are available aren't sufficient, I can configure additional settings or change the existing settings of a particular power plan. So for example, if I go to Balanced and choose Change Plan Settings, I can specify some fundamental things to do with turning off the display. That tends to be emphasized because it must have the most significant impact on power consumption. And I can also choose Advanced Power Settings. I can specify when the hard disk is turned off, what happens with the power lid and power buttons, display options, and settings to do with battery. So when we get to a critical level of battery, what happens? In this case, as you can see here, it's hibernate. Low battery, what's the level? 10% is low battery level. What's the critical battery level? 5%. When do we get notified on battery and or whether when plugged in? What happens when we're on low battery? At the moment that's configured to do nothing. And then what's the reserve battery level? So we can configure all of that behavior for this particular plan. You can also use the Power Config command line tool. I'll open up an elevated, this is PowerShell prompt here, but nevertheless I can run a command line tool. PowerCFG /? To display the parameters. And so for example, if I do power config with the /L switch, it will display the various power schemes or power plans that we looked at just a moment ago. In the demonstration you saw how to configure power options, battery settings, and how to configure power plans. We also looked at the PowerCFG.exe tool.